Welcome to Complexity Made Simple. My name is Paul Allen, and before we get into today's video, well, I'm just going to remind you the 3 books that are on sale. Drink tea and read the paper. If you're a green belt and a black belt and you want simple instruction on how to apply your skill, design of experiments for 21st century engineers, and finally, a statistical process control for small batch production. They are all available from lulu.com and the links are in the video below. Okay, welcome to Complexity Made Simple. And this very straightforward little case study, which is about why a designed experiment always works. I constantly get asked whenever I'm teaching this stuff, what happens if the experiment doesn't work? And I always say to my classes, designed experiments always work, whether they find the solution or not. And there's a reason why designed experiments always work. It's because they are designed to give you process knowledge. They are not designed to necessarily find the solution, and because they're designed for process knowledge, they will always do that. So let's look at the difference between what you might call one-factor testing or skill-based testing and a designed experiment. With skill-based testing, typically you'll approach it like this. You have a problem. You use your skill, experience, etc. What do? Well, you try to design a solution, a set of settings, changes to the process that you think are going to work. And then what do you do next? Well, you test it. And all the test, when you do it that way, is designed to tell you is whether you passed or failed. And that's all it will tell you. And of course, if you fail, it means you have to go round again. But the experiment is not, that type of experiment is not giving you process knowledge. It just says you chose one solution, that solution doesn't work, try again. Very little process knowledge comes out of that type of testing technique. When you do a DOE, it's very different, because we've still got the problem. By the way, we are still going to use your skill. I'm not going to throw that away. I don't use the skill, though, to design the solution. I use the skill to design the test to get the maximum knowledge. That's what the skill is about. And once we've got maximum knowledge out the test, then maybe what we can do is design a solution. However, there will always be maximum knowledge coming out the test, and therefore, because there's always process knowledge, the designed experiment always works. So let's show you this little case study. I'm not going to show you the whole project because that's not the point. Someone presented this experiment to me the other day. It was just a fantastic example of the experiment didn't find the solution, but the process knowledge they gained was fantastic because it helped them to save money, and that's the point. Gave them process knowledge. So let's take a look at this thing. Well, it's a pouch sealing process. You can see the pouch just being heat sealed there. There's a heating element that seals across there, and the problem is that the pouch isn't sealing correctly. So I think there's a video on the next page. So let's take a look, and we'll just play this. You'll see the pouch first of all is being filled with a liquid. You see the liquid going into the pouch. Then the pouch gets put on the sealing machine, and there's a little bit of heat, there's a little bit of time and temperature, etc. And the pouch is sealed. And there's the basic process. So I'll switch that off. So let me show you the experiment that they decided to do within the project. So there was other things they're doing within the project, but they presented this little 3-factor experiment. So the first thing to say, of course, is sample size 30 to 50, which is fantastic. Nice statistical sample size designed to give you proper knowledge instead of going at it half-baked and doing 3 or 4. Not sure what that's all about. 30 to 50. But, you know, very efficient, because with 30 to 50, we can test, in this case, we're going to test 3 variables. But you could have tested up to 11 variables with the same sample size. The 3 variables they play with are the heat, the pressure, and the cooling time. So the heat, look, 200 to 240, the pressure 0.6 to 0.8, and the cooling time in between each pouch 10 seconds to 40 seconds. So they're the 3 variables that they decided with their skill, with the most important variables, to make this sealing process work properly. They did the experiment and then they did the analysis. And let me show you. I'm going to blow this up so we can see it a little bit better. So I'll blow this regression table up. So this is the regression table. First thing to look at, look, the R squared, 0.14 here. That basically means that the 3 variables that they decided to play with here had almost negligible effect on the result. And in fact, the p-values here, you know anything about the statistics, the hypothesis tests, none of the hypothesis tests are in the right area. So the hypothesis tests are basically saying heat, pressure, cooling time, they don't have any effect on the result, none whatsoever. So there's no link. Now, of course, the people that did this experiment are quite disappointed because they haven't found the solution. And on one level, you'd say the DOE, it didn't work. There you go. Experiments don't always work. No, this gave you knowledge. So what did I tell them to do next? Well, what I told them to do next is to take the heat down to the lowest setting, to take the pressure to the lowest setting, and to take the wait time to the lowest setting, and basically save money. These variables don't do anything. That's fantastic news, because you can put them to the cheapest. You don't have to concern yourself with spending time writing them into lots of control systems and being very, very careful about where they're set, etc. Just put them to the cheapest and save money, because that is process knowledge. And because a DOE generates process knowledge, they always work. No other testing technique can do this. We often say to people, please work smarter, not harder. Here is a tool that does exactly that. It always generates process knowledge. What we need you to do next is to put your wisdom to that process knowledge. And if you put your wisdom with the knowledge that it's gained, you are going to save cash better than any of your competitors. And that's what this is about. DOEs always work. They always give you process knowledge. Well, I hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions about that topic, or indeed anything to do with Six Sigma or Lean for that matter, give me a call and I hope to hear from you soon.